Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a bit different, but it's something I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. The topic is something that's been on my mind for a while, especially after my personal experiences, and I know it's something a lot of you are grappling with too. We're talking about the truth about modern women, hypergamy, and the differences between East and West. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let me make something clear. This isn't a video bashing women or pointing fingers. It's about understanding some of the dynamics that are at play in the modern dating world, both in the West and in the East. It's about being honest with ourselves and seeing things from a fresh perspective. So why am I talking about this now? Well, after years of feeling invisible, overlooked, and downright disposable in Western culture, I had an experience that changed my perspective. I spent some time in China, and it was like stepping into a completely different world. I'll get into that in a bit, but first, let's talk about the landscape we're dealing with in the West. The Western dating landscape. When we talk about hypergamy, let's break it down simply. Hypergamy is the idea that people, especially women, tend to seek out partners who are more successful or higher status than themselves. Now, this is a controversial topic, and I know that there are plenty of people who want to throw shade on this concept, saying it's an outdated or untrue idea. But the reality is, in many ways, it's still alive and kicking in modern society. In the West, we've seen this play out in different ways, particularly through divorce rates, gender roles, and the rise of feminism. For men in their 40s or 50s, this can be especially tough. In many cases, men feel invisible as they age. After years of hard work, they may be facing the harsh reality of being ignored or discarded. Meanwhile, women are often encouraged to chase their own careers, pursue independence, and prioritize personal development. So, what happens when both men and women are pushing in different directions? Emotional disconnect, the rise of loneliness. It's no surprise that many men in the West are feeling like they don't measure up anymore. But why does this happen? It's not just about money, success, or looks. It's about status. And when men aren't able to maintain that status in a society that values external achievements, they're left feeling like they don't have much to offer. For some, this leads to frustration, bitterness, and confusion. My personal experience. I want to get personal with you here because I think it's important to share my story. A few decades ago, I found myself in a really dark place. Depression, mental health struggles, unemployment, and a feeling like I was just invisible. I felt like a ghost in my own life. And I know a lot of men out there feel the same way. But everything changed when I took a trip to China. To say it was a culture shock would be an understatement. Suddenly, I wasn't invisible anymore. People noticed me. I had a presence, an energy that I didn't even realize I was missing. It was euphoric in a way. For the first time in years, I felt seen. I felt valued, not just because of my status or money, but because I was a person who commanded respect in a different way. I call it hero in the East, zero in the West. It was a profound realization. In the West, I was just another guy, struggling to hold on to some kind of significance. But in the East, my very presence was enough. I wasn't chasing approval. It was given to me freely. What Asian women taught me. During my time in China, I had the privilege of meeting and getting to know women who saw me in a completely different light. And what struck me most was the kindness, the appreciation, and a different kind of feminine energy. It wasn't about what I could offer in terms of money or status. It was about who I was as a person. But let's be real for a second. There's an illusion versus reality situation here. While the attention felt amazing, it's also important to acknowledge that there are risks involved when navigating foreign cultures. Not every woman you meet has the same intentions, and I am not going to sugarcoat it. There are scams, long game risks, and a whole host of things to watch out for. That said, I learned something valuable during my time there. If you want to see how women really feel about you, tell them you're poor. The response is eye-opening. In the West, a lot of women will dismiss you instantly if they perceive you as being of lesser value. But in China, when I expressed that I wasn't wealthy, the response was completely different. There was still respect, there was still kindness, but the result was the same in a sense, this rejection. The psychology of attraction. This brings me to a deeper point, the psychology of attraction. In the West, men are often told that they need to have confidence, success, and wealth to attract women. It's the whole cash and status mentality. But what happens when that's stripped away? What happens when society removes shame and accountability, and we no longer have those pressures to conform? Well, it turns out that women are biologically wired to seek safety and stability. But here's the kicker. That doesn't mean they're only after money. What they're really seeking is a man who can provide emotional stability, confidence, and strength. It's the balance between inner and outer strength. And that's something I realized after spending time in different cultural contexts. Hope, wisdom, and moving forward. So what's the takeaway here? There are good women out there, both in the East and the West. But let's be honest with ourselves. Most people are lost in the matrix, chasing things that don't really matter, struggling to find meaning in a world that's built on superficial values. The key is to build value, not bitterness. If you're sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, stop. Start working on becoming the best version of yourself. Invest in your physical, mental, and emotional health. Focus on building inner strength, and don't let external factors dictate your worth. The right people, whether in relationships, friendships, or business, will be drawn to you for who you are. At the end of the day, whether you're in the West or the East, the most important thing is to find your peace. And I know that's not always easy, but there's hope. There's a way forward. It all starts with you. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this gave you some insight into the complexities of modern relationships and hypergamy, and maybe even helped you see things from a different angle. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I've got more content coming your way soon. And next time, we'll dive deeper into how I found peace after all this chaos. Stay tuned.
Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you.